And with that, we'd like to launch and go into our first keynote presentation with Mr. Craig Fulton, Executive VP and Senior Partner, APAC Lead Hybrid Cloud Transformation at IBM. He will be exploring with us this morning what's next in cloud, the expanding realities of hybrid cloud architecture, enabling flexibility and overall cost reduction with cloud, key considerations in adopting hybrid cloud, and managing the hybrid cloud setups. Mr. Fulton, it's all yours.
Good morning, everyone. I'll speak into the mic. Okay, good morning, everyone. Good morning. Happy to be here. I'm happy to be in Singapore. I moved here in July, and I'm glad to be asked to speak here. Hopefully, I'll give a view globally, APAC, and hopefully it resonates with yourselves in Singapore. I'd like to start with who thinks they're almost done with their cloud migration transformation? Just a show of hands, you don't. Anyone? Interesting. So 37% of executives that we surveyed said they thought they were almost done. And I'll come on to tell you why they think they're almost done, because they're obviously not. Okay, how many of you think you've stalled in your cloud transformation? Anybody? Wow. Because again, 31% of people think they've stalled. And I'll come on to tell you why that is too. But I thought I'd start, and I'm sure you guys all know, with what we believe hybrid cloud is. Because everyone has a different point of view. And everything I say, everyone will have 3 different points of view. And I'm happy to discuss all of that, and let's debate it. But let's start with hybrid cloud is, for me, is a mix of public, private, multi-cloud, and on-premise infrastructure. Because, as we heard from our esteemed panelists, they all need to work together to bring your ecosystem. Okay. So, the reason that people think they're finished in the cloud journey is because not everyone is on the same journey. And if you look at the chart here, I actually think we've gone past version 4, and we're probably into version 5, 6, and 7. Because we started with on-premise infrastructure, with automation, we talked about microservices, APIs. Then we braved it and we moved into, we had our developers go out with their credit cards onto the hyperscalers. Then we put some control around that. Then we realized that this public cloud thing was here to stay, and it was scalable, and there was a benefit to it. So we moved to the next evolution. And now we need to understand, and it's good to hear from the panelists that that's exactly where they're going. It needs to move into industry. We need to be lockstep with the organization to provide real benefit, business benefit to the organization, where cloud and internal IT is a very small component of that. It is the foundation. And I put a little tagline there, and there is a good Institute of Business Value paper on, if you want to catch bigger fish, you need to go fishing in deeper waters. And what that means is, if you want small benefits, then take small steps. If you want big benefits, then you need to put in the hard work, the strategy, and have big ambitions. And from that, you'll get big benefits. So this is a more traditional view, and it's giving people a bit of an insight to how do you pick, from a value stream point of view, what you do with your IT landscape. So let's start with the technology element. Lift and shift. So from a hyperscaler point of view, there was a real surge in, let's just pick everything up and move it to cloud. When people did that, they didn't really get the benefits they expected, because they always said they were going to do the next thing and the next thing. But actually, it's quick and easy, and you get some benefit. SG&A, so IT is what, 15% of the business, if that? So you're missing out on the rest of the benefit. And then we heard about containerization, microservices, APIs. So again, it's the most optimized ROI. And in this region, actually, there's probably more containerization than I see in other regions. So people are getting it here. We're looking at the innovation. And then we look at replatform. And it'd be very selective. Because as you see here, cost, complexity, it's a higher return, moderate benefit. And then completely cloud native. Now, that's where you're going to get the maximum benefit. But that's hard. And it's unpicking your apps, and it's taking the legacy, and it's completely rebuilding. But is it worth it? The reality is, your landscape is probably a mix of all of these. But did you work out the benefits and the ROI of what you could get, picking the optimal way of delivering each of the applications in your business landscape? Question. So this is a very opinionated view, and if I'm obviously from IBM, so there's a very IBM view of the world. This is the one slide that talks about IBM and IBM product. But when we look at that hybrid cloud platform, and I spoke about all of the different components from edge, from enterprise infrastructure, or what we call the core, I'm seeing people stall because they've done, and we said 20% 2 years ago, I think it's 22% now of movement to cloud. People have stalled because they're at the real business core applications that are probably full of custom code, were developed 20, 30 years ago, are on what are considered legacy systems or core systems. And are they moving them to cloud, or are they just innovating around the edges? So this is an opinionated view of how containerization using Red Hat OpenShift is the integration layer for clouds, building integration into your SaaS platforms to look at how you build an industry platform, top-down, core components, multi-cloud, private cloud, hybrid cloud, with security, and being able to manage this cohesively. Because that's the biggest problem. We've seen people have moved from single clouds to 2 clouds to now, I think, for some industries, they're predicting 15, 16 clouds. And with that, I also mean the SaaS providers. So there's definitely acceleration in cloud. There's a lot of gotchas, and I've seen most of them. I've seen people build their data centers in the cloud and then wonder why they didn't get any benefit. I've seen people go completely the other way and innovate on the cloud and then not be able to integrate back into their core systems. So there's lots of mistakes. From all of our enterprise transformations we've done, these have been the key components that show up in almost every successful one. We're seeing the move away from the lift and shift because the benefit wasn't there from a business perspective. It was the 15% in SG&A, and of that SG&A, a percentage of that is probably just IT. The operating models, the financial operating model. Now, that's not just FinOps, because FinOps is being put in a little bucket, and it says, how much is your cloud costing? This is a full end-to-end view from a business perspective of where cloud is not only driving down cost, but actually it's building your revenue. That's the real. It's building new business models and building revenue and changing your whole way of doing business. The business insights, everyone's talked about data being the new oil. We actually don't think it's the new oil. We think data is renewable. It's the new water. You take it, you refine it, you bottle it, you distribute it, and you know what? You get it back, and you do it all again. So it's a renewable. It's not static. It's not coal. It's not burnt and disappears. So data fabrics are key to that. How are you managing that data? Everyone talks about data insights, the new oil, but what are you doing with it? You have to rapidly build. That's the whole part of this, is you can innovate, you can fail fast, you can deliver, you can change. But don't forget your business process and how you automate business process, because that's probably the mass of your organization if you're not a technology organization. Your supply chain, resilient supply chain. I'm sure there are other speakers that are going to speak a lot more detail about supply chain. Activate the digital. There's still so many organizations out there that don't have a good digital model. At the front end, it looks highly digital, and by the time you look at what's happening in the back end, they're back to paper processing, lots of people intensive. Always on service, so back to resilience. Can you build always on, or make it look like it's always on, or create it? And also, personalize for your customer. There are lots of different capabilities out there, different people. But yeah, CIOs are trying to leverage the agility. Lift and shift is not going to get you there. Core business applications are where the real benefit is. And composability to build them, refresh them, renew, and continue to evergreen is where it's really at. So this gives a view of, if you look at the benefits here, only 8% is actually moving to cloud. Look at all the other benefits, starting from the top down with culture, open innovation, ecosystem of partners, all the way through skills, process, cybersecurity, and all those exponential technologies, IoT, AI. This is where the real benefit of cloud is. And it says times 13 there. It differs by industry. Some industries are up at 20 times if you have a plan and a strategy to implement a holistic plan, not just move to cloud. So with that, here are some of the gotchas, and this might be irrelevant because no one in the room seems to be stalled or think they've finished. But if you look at this little graph, it tells you on the bottom left, you're doing the wrong thing in the wrong way. So you're taking IT as IT with no correlation with the business, and that's what you're driving. You're just driving IT, and that means cost out, but is it really helping your business? And then if you look to the bottom right, you're doing the wrong things, but in the right way. You've got DevOps, you've integrated your security, you've got your tool chains, you're migrating, you're on cloud. So it looks like you're doing all the right things, but you haven't engaged your business. And what you've built, was it to solve a business problem? Is it delivering something that's going to change your business model? No, because in order to do that, you have to be up in the right. And that's where we start getting into industry specifics, company specifics. So we can get to probably 80% for your industry, the 20% you want to customize, because that's your differentiation. And then if you go to the top left, you're doing the right things, but in the wrong way. So you're engaging with the business, but you're a traditional IT model. You're not really using the capabilities that you have. So to that, I move on to industry cloud. So there are a couple of things I wanted to touch on, because what I'm seeing in the industry, and IBM has had an industry cloud with FS Cloud for about 4 years. So we've experimented, we've delivered it, and then we've continued to grow because industry is actually where we excel. And if I look at where industry solutions were, it was basically small pieces of industry solutions to solve an industry problem. That then moved into, let's package those industry solutions up into platforms. And now we're looking at industry clouds, which allow multiple ecosystems of partners to come together, whether it be the hyperscalers who've all got industry clouds, sustainability across all of those clouds, and it's mainly around compliance. That's what they built. But how does that help you from a business model perspective? So I'm seeing the industry move to, we're going to get much more specific on the industry you are, where the scale. We're seeing it in intelligent cars. We're seeing it in the edge in manufacturing. We're seeing it in logistics. So we're seeing a lot more repeatable process and 20% differentiation. So some of the key takeaways for this component, and then I'll come on to tell you what the five areas are that take you from running on cloud to mastering cloud. So 79% of stakeholders require comprehensive advanced cloud capabilities to really realize the full power of cloud. But they're starting and doing simple things. They're not taking on the difficult tasks. They're taking on the simple task to tick the box and say they've done it. And you'll hear a lot of people saying, I'm 80% or 90% in the cloud, and they'll tweak it to hit the KPI they were given. They've moved workloads. They haven't changed anything, really. Hybrid multi-cloud comes out on top. It's 2.5 times better to be hybrid multi-cloud. And again, we've got papers that can show you how we worked that out. And the soft stuff matters. I don't like calling it stuff because it's hard. And that's the people, the education, the culture, the really difficult things that somehow we call soft. So that's sort of the what about cloud. So there's a few key challenges that we have, and we call this cloud mastery. So how do you move from just doing cloud to mastering cloud? There's the architectural challenge. 15 clouds, all run in different ways, requiring different skill sets, not necessarily all being able to run in agile squads and sprints. So how do you bring that together and move forward and be able to monitor it, secure it, govern it, compliance? So first of all, you need to envision that single integrated hybrid cloud platform and the app architecture fully aligned to your business strategy. And I showed you what that could look like from a technical box logical view. Build it the way you would build your products. Don't build and leave. It needs to be evergreened. It needs to be versioned. It needs to continue to evolve and change, just like any product that you see. Think of your iPhone and how many updates you get every day. You need to think of your technology like that so you don't get into the sins of the past and the technical debt. And define the sweet spot where enterprise IT roadmaps move in lockstep with what your business are trying to achieve and the business strategy. People and operations. So this is where you've got multiple different skill sets required. You might have legacy skills you have to move. How do you get from where you are today to that product-driven, fast, agile, innovative model? So first of all, make it special. Create a cloud center of excellence. Deliberately looking at how you're going to acquire talent. You're going to get talent. You're going to train the talent. You're going to keep the people you have. You're going to then use that talent to innovate and change. I think one of the panelists said here, empower your people, but give them the skills, the experience they'll need to run that hybrid cloud operating model. And design the work first. Don't take your organizational structure and move a few of the boxes around and then say it's cloud and change the name. Think about what you need to be going forward and align your org structure with what you need to be going forward. Security. So cybersecurity is still one of the #1 issues we have. It's not a cloud problem. It's a problem. And it's continuing to grow. It's not reducing. So you need to look at your posture across your whole estate. Because as you know, any weakness is a weakness to your whole estate. So you've got legacy infrastructure, you've got your multi-clouds, you've got your SaaS applications, you've got all your data and these big data lakes. How are you going to secure that and have a single view of what's going on in your environment? Leverage AI, because there is no way that people, even in the biggest security operations center in the hyperscaler providers, can see what's going on and react quickly enough to prevent the issue escalating. So you need to use AI. You need to use adaptive authentication. You need to use technology to do that for you and do the analysis and highlight the areas that you need human interaction to resolve. The financial challenge. Now, this is a bit of a strange one because it depends what you were trying to achieve from cloud. Were you trying to take cost out? Were you trying to drive revenue? Are you just trying to keep control of your cost? FinOps is part of that. You want to optimize your cost because as you use more cloud, it grows exponentially. People start getting used to just spending money because it's easy. So you need to control that. But I don't think that's just an IT function. That needs to be built into your whole financial model. So maybe we need to go to the CFO conference and say, CFOs, this is a whole model, not just a CIO model. And pair it with your AI ops, because your AI ops understands what's going on in your estate, and then you can manage the cost of what's going on and what's happening in your estate. And then partners. And I think the panelists, again, we had a number of conversations about your partner ecosystem. This is really create a captain's table. And what that means is pick your partners. I was going to say like you pick your family, but that's probably a little bit. Pick your friends, maybe. But it is a family. It needs to be a family. And it's really, what's your vision and charter for your partners? How are you going to work with your partners? Pick them wisely. And then treat them like partners. And trust them. Trust them with your problems and work together to deliver. The way that you can change your business model with ecosystem partners, you can grow exponentially. We've got lots of examples where when we built an ecosystem, where it was a payments ecosystem in Australia, whether it was banking in India, the exponential growth of the businesses that use ecosystem partners. And I don't just mean system integrators. I mean, if you don't do payments, use a payments gateway. If you don't do cloud, don't build your own. It's that kind of partnership. But what are you trying to achieve? So there's a couple of key takeaways, and then I'll open for some questions. So hybrid cloud is a powerful strategy for transformation, innovation for your modern enterprise. So are you treating it that way? Does your strategy include that? Integrate your assets, clear and compelling, hybrid cloud vision, starting with the platform architecture, but actually starting with the business and then working at top down from what the business is trying to achieve. You have to build it bottom up. So it's great to pick your interior design when you're building a house, but that doesn't go in first. You need to build the foundations, and then you can get to the point where you're doing your interior design. Develop the cadre as a cloud savvy, smart creatives, design the workflows, look at where you're going to get the optimal from the resources that you have, efficiently, effectively. So single hybrid cloud operating model that encompasses your whole environment. Have a unified security program. Don't treat different environments differently. Have it unified across everything from your B2B, B2C, internal applications, business. Manage all the cloud costs. Manage your costs through a single view that can be looked at, optimized, and decisions made going forward. And bring all your partners together in a voluntary, multilateral ecosystem aligned under one strategy for success. Thank you for listening to me. And are there...
Thank you so much, Craig. That was really enlightening. Thank you.
Okay.